This guy's about ready to speak. You're going to understand some things and learn some secret knowledge. Um, I was always told, I learned that Yahweh is Enki of Enki and Enlil of the Anunnaki. I know that there was a certain reason why the Knights Templar and the Cathars were annihilated by the Vatican because they taught Gnosticism. Don't forget that. And Jesus, Yeshua, uh, the oldest Bible in the world, well, the Sinaiticus Codex says that Jesus never died. So what he's going to be talking about is Merkabahs, and you are God. You are a fractal of God. You're like a piece of him, and you're down here to learn how to be a God. Jesus, Yeshua, said that in the New King James Version, and he said that, haven't I told you that you guys are gods? Research it. Now, listen to what this guy says because he's going to be telling you something very serious. Pay attention.
Believe it or not, it's snowing in Arizona. There is only one true religion. I cracked the code. I finished the game, and I'm about to tell you everything you need to know. But first, I'm going to wait until the snow is done because it's way too hard to make a video with all this wet. This will be the last time I tell you all the secrets to reality and magic, and there's a couple reasons why. Those who know don't speak. Those who speak don't know. There is a reason the occult masters say this. For one, while they're teaching, they cannot access the power completely because they're dedicating tons of energy to teaching the masses, which is what I've done for several years, and it's been absolutely exhausting because I've gotten so much pushback for telling all of you the truth. The irony of Christians treating me the way the Pharisees treated Christ is absolutely mind-boggling. But this is what the mystic prophet should expect. For most people to hate the message of truth about magic, reality, righteousness, and God, and for a very select few to be able to drop their egos, open their minds and their hearts, and actually hear and understand the message. This has ultimately not been very fun or easy for me. I've taken on great pains in my own life to tell you all the truth. And there comes a point where I need to start taking care of myself and reap the benefits of all the wisdom that I've attained. While your mind focuses on the liberation of the people, you cannot fully liberate yourself. Truly tapping into this dream world's power requires absolute non-belief. Because all these backwards ideologies, philosophies, mythologies, cosmologies, and all the rest are what's keeping your mind in a box. And because when people like me come down to give you the truth, we have to navigate that box, we can't fully be in the truth because we have to operate inside of your lies to try to get to you so we can tell you the divine truth. And therefore our minds are being anchored to bad stuff just because we have to in order to talk to you and to be in the world. All right, now that you hopefully understand why this has to be the last time I drop the master secrets on you, let's get into those master secrets. It all starts with YHVH. No, YHVH does not represent your breath. No, YHVH isn't about your DNA. YHVH is the tetragrammaton, the hyperdimensional geometric lattice of creation. People are very foolish about these four letters. So foolish that they try to convert those four letters to a six-letter name, and it's not the same. YHVH is the sacred secret that one group of people understands extremely well and uses it to their absolute advantage. The reason they say Hashem, the name, as a placeholder and say that God's name can't be spoken, it's first off because they're lying to you. It's not that it can't be spoken, it's that they don't want to tell you the big secret. They got a triangle facing up and a triangle facing down on their flag. Interesting. As above, so below. Masculine and feminine. Locking in the divine energy of creation at the place where everyone referred to as the center of the world, Jerusalem. They are controlling all the divine energy that pours into our reality, while they've tricked you into using Yahweh and Jehovah, fake deities that spiritually enslave you and create a conduit connection circuit to their energy. So they control what you think, and then you give them your prayer power so they can create more. That's why they say Hashem, because they don't want you to know how magic works. By the way, America's magical symbol is the five-pointed star, the pentagram, and they are referred to in the Middle East as the Great Shaitan or Great Demon Conjurer, which is exactly what we are. So let's talk about what YHVH really means. Now, by the way, when anyone tells you one of their foolish theories, like the DNA thing or the breath thing or that it's actually Yahweh, ask them where they're getting their information from. And keep asking questions, because what you're going to find is they have no idea what they're talking about, and they're just repeating what somebody else told them. So let's talk about what YHVH really means. Okay, we're in Exodus 3:14, and Moses asked God, when I go to the Hebrew people and say, God sent me, who shall I say exactly sent me? What is your name? To which God replies in an ancient language which is very hard to translate perfectly into any one of our modern languages, the most important phrase in human history regarding magic, prayer, spirituality, and mysticism. I am going to give you all the potential interpretations of that phrase. Understand that no one of them is true by themselves, but when you combine them all together, you can see the big picture. I am that I am. I will become what I will become. I will become what the Hebrew people need me to become. You think, therefore I am. What this is telling you is that we live in a malleable, aka changeable reality that is changed and morphed by our consciousness. Where have you heard this before? Quantum physics. God is telling Moses that you can create whatever you want out of me, the substance of creation, because you have become a conscious being, conscious of being conscious, aware of reality, and the ability to change it and create like a God. Since then, the people who have received this wisdom have used that to their advantage and created all sorts of tulpas and egregores to convince and control populations to maintain control over the world. Gray aliens, fairies, angels, saints, balls of light, gnomes, dwarves, you name it, most of them were probably created by magicians. They use the creative energy, creative potential, because they realize that the world is actually a dream and that we sort of solidify ourselves into the physical reality and lose sight of the spiritual reality. Jerusalem was built in the invisible world first. Solomon's temple was not built with hammer and chisel. And they're able to do all sorts of insane things. Think about the CE5 meditations where they sort of call upon the aliens. Isn't that the same thing as summoning a spirit? Yes, it is exactly the same thing as summoning a spirit. And everyone has the potential to do this. Now there's a higher version. You can create a personal super tulpa of yourself called the light body, the Merkaba. It's what Jesus Christ did to resurrect on the third day. And it's what all the yogis do in the Himalayas when they're sitting there meditating in the mountain and someone sees them walking in the streets in a city at the same exact time. Everyone who's following a religion and worshiping anything, whether it's science and AI and robots, Galactic Federation, Jesus Christ, all these different apparitions were manufactured. There is not any one of those that is truly real and connected to the divine, true one God in a pure way. It is like a filter, and God's light passes through the filter based on the cultural story we're telling, and then it manifests itself in organized form. What I'm trying to say is, yes, there is an actual ministry of magic that lives underneath the fabric of our regular, normal society. And they perform magic all the time and bewitch and cast spells on you. And everyone's trying to get you to vote for their principality through your worship. The more people that worship a particular false idol, the more powerful that false idol becomes in the invisible world, and then they in turn have an effect on the physical world that we live in, the psychological world that we live in, etc., etc., and it's this feedback loop. Folks, let me tell you something, especially to those people who believe in the Galactic Federation. 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, when people were having contact, they were telling the people they were from Venus and Mars. And now, since we have satellites and we have telescopes and we can see those places, they've changed their story to Pleiades and Zeta Reticuli because we can't see those places, so we can't prove that they're telling us BS. Before that, they were just saying, we live up there. We live in the clouds. We live in super high mountains that float in the sky. That was before human beings understood that there was no cities in the sky, that when you go past the sky, there's these other heavenly bodies. They changed their story based on the culture, or they're manifested from our collective unconscious based on the cultural beliefs we have, aka Daniel chapter 10, the Prince of Persia, which was a principality, a spirit of Persia, which was the amalgamation of their language, their cultures, their desire, their beliefs. And it actually lived around the territory of Persia as a spirit that operated with the actual. And there's principalities everywhere. There's a principality around me right now called King Magon, who believes all the things he believes and tries to manifest that cultural energy in his space. And this is how the whole thing works. It's a giant sandbox. And the way we behave, and the way we think, and the way we believe, whether in ourselves or some external thing, is what we build the world into. You are the magician. You are the super creator. You are the fractal light of God, which can do anything here that they want. Stop worshiping false gods.
Now, like you said on the very end, we are our gods. You're a fractal of him. I've been saying that for years. I hope you learned something. Have a nice night.